So, something happened, and a shitstorm happened. It leaked out, and as a result, I ended up hearing about it. And, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it, because it's news. Okay, so, if you guys don't know what Funimation is a studio that is dedicated to providing animes with English dubs. That's their biggest known stuff. They do simulcasts, they do subbed stuff, so if you're not a fan of the dubs, you can go ahead and check out their simulcasted shows. They have simulcasted shows as well. There used to be a time where Crunchyroll was handling the subbing while Funimation was doing the dubbing, but after things happened, they ended up having to split, and now Crunchyroll does their thing, which they're known more for doing simulcasts and doing subs, while Funimation does both their dubs and back to their simulcasts. So, yeah. Funimation is going through some stuff. I tell ya, going through some stuff. And, it'll be much more of a headache if I were to touch on to the biggest situations around here and the other things. But, however, I do gotta go ahead and talk about it. The latest of the shitstorms they have now caused. And at least it's not as big as the previous ones, but still. It blew up, it leaked out, I ended up hearing about it, and let's get right into it. Now, this article is from Bounding Into Comics. Source link in the description. I will go ahead and talk about it. Now, Funimation is doing an English dub for a title. It's a very long title, and it's based off a visual novel. Okay, so, you know a girl who chants love at the bound of this world. Yeah, that's a pretty long title. It's going to take me forever if I remember things from it. And if I remember right, this game is also a visual novel that's out on, well, maybe not out yet, but I saw it, oh, god damn it. Alright, I just have up the Steam page for the visual novel. Yeah, it is based off the visual novel, which is out now on Steam. So go figure. Okay, so of course, I'm going to say for short. So, is getting an anime adaptation that, of course, Funimation is doing the dubs for. And, however, in the article with Bounding Into Comics, the guy decided to go ahead and put up the original subbed version versus the dubbed version. Okay, now, here is the context. What's going on is that there's this guy who is a smart aleck, and he's got his friend with him. However, the friend points out to the smart aleck that there's this one girl who seems to be nice with everybody, but however, when it comes to the smart aleck, him and that girl don't get along. Timing happens, this girl shows up during the conversation, all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute, hey, how's it going? Next thing you know, the smart aleck was like, hey, m'lady, oh, can you please not call me that, said the lady, and the smart aleck was basically like, oh, how about the popular girl, the school idol? And this is where I'm going to go ahead and cut myself off and go through the differences between the subbed version and the English version. In the subbed version, why do you make me so mad? Oh, so said the lady. The smart alecky. I don't know. Not sure. That time of the month? And then, keep in mind the final line. The lady's like, how crude! Alright, this is the subbed version. Actually, I have to go ahead and correct myself real quick, because the English dub has differentiated, and I kind of do see, especially the ending line that I'm about to read out, I can see where it's ticking everybody off. And I can see how inaccurate that is. Because in the subversion, that was not what he said. Okay, the smart aleck did not call her sweet cheeks. Yeah. If you remember in the subbed version, how's it going, milady? So, how on earth did they come up with the idea of having the smart aleck say sweet chicks when that's not the accurate translation? And, of course, there's nothing wrong with that part. Okay, it's just... Okay, it's accurate, it's just different wording. Alright, so as soon as the smart aleck was like, okay, maybe it's that time of the month. Okay, just as accurate as the English sub. That's great. Now, the ending line. The lady is like, "Ah, you're such a misogynist!" Wait, what? If you want to get a hold, there's both the English sub transcript and the English dub transcript. If you want to go ahead and check that out yourself, go ahead and go to the source link that I'm going to put in the description, okay? I'm going to go ahead and say this, but this is where I have to throw my sense in. The sweet cheeks line and the milady part, how does that even fit together? And we're talking about a character who comes out like a smartass. So when the hell did he say sweet cheeks in the English song? He said milady. And it was referring to her being the popular girl. So what does Sweet Cheeks have something to do with her being popular? Again, let's think about the context here. How? And what do you mean that time of the month? Oh, you're such a misogynist! Oh, how crude. In the English sub, oh, how crude. But in the English dub, oh, you're such a misogynist. You just threw in a political buzzword, and I think that's where people are getting ticked off and getting pissed off about the dubs, because it's so inaccurate, and it just felt like that you're shoehorning a political buzzwords. You're shoehorning political or moral buzzwords into it, when people are just wanting to watch the dub because they want the same as the English sub. They want an accurate translation. Again, how is Funimation being this accurate when they're shoehorning a moral political buzzword or just buzz phrasing? It's just not... I get it's just one... I get it's just a few lines, but still... This isn't the only thing. They've done this. They have changed around the transcripts. Instead of providing accurate English translations, they just shoehorn political, moral messages or buzz phrases into it. They've done this with Prison School. They've done this with Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. And I ended up having to hear about this. It leaks into it, and it just ends up reminding me, and just shenanigans like this reminds me, hey, this is why people prefer the sub over the dub. Here's the thing. When we talk about anime companies that are known for licensing animes and providing them to view across the globe, alright, that means Crunchyroll, High Dive, especially Funimation. It is completely understandable for a fact that they have to provide accurate English translations. Because when you pull a Funimation with what just happened just now, with what we just saw, not only is that terribly inaccurate with the English sub and how the English sub is more accurate compared to the dub. And why, yeah, I get it's a few lines. I do understand that. But the problem here is that Funimation is ditching accuracy in favor for shoehorning political, moral messages or buzz phrases or buzzwords into their things, and that's where it creates the problem. People don't pay $7 to $10 monthly to end up with inaccurate translations that have shoehorned political, moral shenanigans into it. And actually, as a matter of fact, it's going to end up driving some other people, other than me, other than probably you. This is what's going to probably drive people into just going and pirating the anime and just going through Kiss Anime or some other free anime episode websites, because they're not paying a subscription fee and they're not making a gamble, and they can comfortably watch it because the people pirating the animes are providing the more accurate English translations. And I think that's where people, when Funimation does things like this is where piracy gets caused. And I don't mean to be this harsh. There's getting things wrong, but then there's getting things wrong in favor for shoehorning a political, moral buzz thing into the script where it never actually belonged at all, and thus causing piracy in the process. Alright. And even though if people don't subscribe to Funimation, even though people don't even hear of Funimation, even though if people don't bother with Funimation anymore, it ends up leaking out, so everybody has to hear it, including the people I just mentioned. And they become reminded as to, why they canceled their Funimation subscription, or why they don't go to the dub anymore. And it creates a form of cynicism, and it just gets ridiculous. It just reinforces the sour taste other people have in their mouth. It is highly important to provide as much accurate English translation as possible. Alright? Because people don't pay $7 to $10 a month in favor for bad translations with shoehorn political, moral shenanigans in there. Okay, now, I'm not trying to encourage piracy. I'm not trying to condone piracy. What I am trying to say is that you have to be careful with things you're doing. And you have to be as much very accurate with the English translation as possible. Otherwise, you will end up putting sour tastes in other people's mouths. And some of the other people are going to go ahead and just turn to different options. And when you're motivating someone to consider different paths because you're putting sour tastes in people's mouths, that's not a very good thing to be doing. It's not good. It hurts your business. It hurts the animes that you're licensing. You gotta think about it. Think about it. Now, I'm gonna say this again. It ended up leaking out, and I ended up hearing about it because what Funimation did with the dub for created a hell of a shitstorm. And that shitstorm leaked out. I ended up hearing about it, and it was totally yikes. And if you do remember Funimation's other shenanigans, I'm not going to go into detail. This isn't something Funimation can be affording right now. Like I said again, the article thanks to Bounding Into Comics. Thanks to Bounding Into Comics for this article. The source link in the description of this video, and go check it out yourself. If you want to go ahead, check out the transcripts yourself, or if you've already learned it from somebody else, like Senkaku Complex, alright, fine by me, but all I'm just saying is that thanks to the article by Bounding Into Comics, source links in the description, and yeah. That's all. I'll be looking forward to you in the next video.